everybody. Welcome to Women in Retail Talks. I'm Melissa Campanelli, the co-founder of the Women in Retail Leadership Circle, and I'm so excited to be joined today by Roshini Raj, the founder of TULA, and Savannah Sachs, the company's CEO. For those of you who don't know, TULA is a clean and effective skincare brand built on the power of probiotics and superfoods. Today, we're going to discuss TULA, how the business has changed since the pandemic, how Roshini and Savannah motivate their teams, and how they lead as partners. So with that, Roshini and Savannah, so nice to meet you.
Thank you, Melissa.
For having us.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Really excited about this because I'm very interested in your product, and I've been reading about it. So I'm really excited to hear more. So Roshini, why don't you just sort of briefly tell me about TULA? Why did you launch the brand? Did you see any white space out there in the skincare beauty market that you felt you could improve upon?
Sure, absolutely. So this is Roshini talking, and the first thing I want to point out is I'm actually a practicing physician, and while you may assume, since we're talking about beauty, that I'm a dermatologist, I'm actually not. I'm a gastroenterologist, which, as many of you know, is a gut health doctor. And so for me, over the years, I have been, of course, very interested in gut health professionally, but really more specifically the microbiome and this whole world of probiotics, which for the last about 15 years has been emerging and more research is going into it. And I noticed with my own patients in my practice, when they were taking probiotics for gut health issues, they actually noticed that their skin was improving. And I noticed it as well.
Wow.
And this was a real aha moment for me, because I really, while we had talked a lot about probiotics in the digestive world, it really was not being spoken about in the skin health world. And so I really wanted to look into this phenomenon and see, what was the research on that particular aspect, and if anyone was exploring that in a more commercial way. And really, they were not at that point. And I decided, this was about 6-7 years ago, that I wanted to be the one to bring this to the world and to women and men and consumers, and really allow them to enjoy the benefits of probiotics for their skin. And now I'm talking about topically applying probiotics as well as ingesting them. And so that was how TULA was born. And TULA literally means balance in Sanskrit. Which I think is just a perfect encapsulation of what we're all about, because we are all about the balancing, nourishing aspects of probiotics for your skin, but also about keeping a balanced viewpoint of yourself in terms of your healthy living practices. All of these things that I personally try to do. I teach my patients, I teach the public when I go on TV as a medical correspondent. TULA is really the embodiment of that value.
Cool. Love that. I love the word meaning balance too. That's awesome. And I did know that you were a doctor, and I just assumed that you were a dermatologist. That's really funny. But it's so interesting though, because it's true. It's sort of like you are what you eat,
Exactly.
So Savannah, let me ask you. So when did you join the team and a CEO, and what is your sort of main focus there?
So I was so fortunate to discover TULA and join as CEO in 2018 after really falling in love with beauty and digitally native social first businesses after spending 4 years at Birchbox, the beauty subscription business. I spent time there building out the UK business from the ground up and took on the role of COO, and really became increasingly aware of and passionate about the clean beauty space. And so when I got connected to TULA and heard about Roshini's light bulb moment and how the brand really sits at the intersection of beauty and wellness with the vision to inspire confidence and help our community embrace their skin, underpinned right by this really differentiated ingredient story around probiotics as a breakthrough innovation in skincare and wellness, I was just obsessed and I had to join. And so I took on the role of CEO and am focused on our strategy for scaling the business. And it may sound a little cheesy, but really, my leadership purpose is to build a happy, high-performing team to drive rapid growth. And so I've been thrilled to join and be able to do just that.
Love that. That should be the goal of every leader, right? To build a happy team. A happy team means, usually happy customers.
Exactly.
So let's talk a little bit about the products themselves. Roshini, can you walk us through some of them? Like which ones are the most popular, and along those same lines, I'd love to learn a little bit about the product development process, sort of how you come up with some of these great ideas.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we're always looking for the most clinically effective, but also clean ingredients. We don't think you, as a consumer, should have to make a choice between one or the other. You can actually have skincare that's healthy, but also skincare that works. And of course, I mentioned probiotics are at the core of all of our formulas, and that could be the topical probiotics, different strains of bacteria in the skincare, to the actual ingestible supplements that we have. We have two right now. And even a product like sunscreen also contains our probiotics. So that's very important and kind of a core to what we do. In terms of the different products, I always say it's sort of like choosing one of my babies, to have to pick one that I love, because I love so many. But in terms of what's really most popular right now, we have a range of eye bombs that have done phenomenally well. And we actually did a couple where we partnered with influencers or some celebrity athletes. And one of those was Courtney Shields. We had our biggest single day of sales on TULA.com history with that launch this year. We also recently launched our new Ageless franchise, which we are through that really trying to break down the stigma around aging. And something in the beauty community we felt was lacking was this real embracing of women at every age and helping them feel confident at every age. I'm going to be celebrating my 49th birthday in a couple of weeks, so this is my sweet spot. And so we have some fantastic products in the Ageless line that personally I'm really excited about. And then our core, some of the products that we started with on day one are actually still some of the most popular, and that includes our cleanser and our 24/7 day and night cream. I think really what we offer is not only clean and effective, but multitasking products, great products for women that are on the go who want amazing skincare, but don't necessarily want to spend, an hour in the bathroom or have to take 5 different products to get the results that they want. So we take pride in really providing the optimal kind of lineup for a woman on the go.
Great. Did we talk about when you founded the company? What year did you found it?
It was about 6 years ago. Yeah, in 2014.
Cool.
Yeah.
So Savannah, let's switch gears a little bit and talk about the business itself, since I know you're closely aligned with that. How has it changed since the pandemic? And have you seen consumers change, their behaviors change that come to your site? And how have you met those changes?
Great question. We've been very fortunate to be positioned at the intersection of beauty and wellness, and as a doctor-founded brand, as well as because of our channel strategy and over 50% of our revenue driven through TULA.com, direct to consumer. Our business has grown even faster than we expected in 2020, and it's been a really successful year, which again, we feel so fortunate for those results. And really what we see is the consumer behavior behind that is, while previous generations have seen the lipstick effect during difficult economic times in the beauty industry, what we're seeing in 2020 is the skincare effect or the self-care effect, in which customers are increasingly focusing on their skin and the ritual of their skincare routine to really invest in their health and happiness in not only economic uncertainty, but health uncertainty. And so we're seeing that in terms of incredible demand for TULA, which we're so thrilled by. And, in terms of how that translates into the numbers, TULA.com sales are up close to 3x year over year. And actually, we're seeing customers really lean into that routine, that full regimen. So average order size or basket size is up actually 25% through the pandemic. So that's again showing us that the customer is really investing in skincare and self-care and that complete routine and ritual as something to really hang on to in such times of uncertainty. So we've been thrilled to be able to bring that to our community and really lean in on the incredible growth we're seeing for TULA.
Wow, that's fantastic. What a success story. I can understand that. I feel like during the pandemic, a lot of people did have time to sort of that they didn't have before to do stuff like that to take care of themselves. And I also think being on Zoom a lot is affecting people's. They're seeing their skin so much, than they maybe have in the past. So
Exactly, exactly.
so I'm going to switch gears once again, and I would love to talk because our listeners love to learn about. They get so inspired by listening to startups, so they would love to hear about sort of your management style and your leadership skills and stuff like that. So, Rashini and Savannah, how would you each describe your management styles?
Well, Savannah's gonna have a lot more to say about this because she is truly managing many more people and the whole company in a fantastic manner. But I will just maybe talk about how she and I are working together. And the fact is, yeah, this company started 6 years ago. Myself, I have two fantastic co-founders with different skill sets, and we all were, contributing in our own way. But to have someone like Savannah now at the helm and really driving the day to day, as well as the long term vision and strategic thinking, has been wonderful for all of us. And we work very, very closely and intimately because to me, TULA really is like one of my babies, and I feel very closely aligned to the values, but also to everything that is sort of outward facing to the customer. And I always want to make sure that I'm, involved with every touch point. So certainly product development, but even things like our Instagram campaigns or our mailers or our commercials or the colors or the packaging or the names of the products, all of these things I kind of take very personally. So I love to be involved at every step of the process. And Savannah, I think, is great about not only involving me, but the whole team. And so we have constant Slack threads going on about every aspect of the business so that everyone is very aware of different decisions that are being made or considered and can weigh in. And we're all sending each other, articles or ideas or touch points to brainstorm about. So it's great. I mean, it's a small enough team that I think we all feel extremely invested in every aspect of the business.
Yeah, I think incredibly well said. And so much of the TULA culture really stems from, Roshini's vision and values and sense of where we're headed. And I think that that's something that is really important to me to make sure that as an entire TULA team and business, we have really clear alignment around our vision. What is the why? What is our purpose? What gets us up out of bed in the morning? And making sure that the entire team really deeply understands and values that. And as a result, if you have that clarity of where we're headed, right? And you have radical transparency so that everyone has the information that they need to do their job well, that really is going to translate into an incredibly empowered team. And so that we can run so fast towards our end vision. And so, I think that's one core element of how I think about leading. I also think that, our TULA core values are really at the forefront of everything that we do. And so, to share two of our values that really bring this to life, one is the idea of strong opinions loosely held, right? So, even across Roshini, myself, we have such unique and different experiences and expertise, and everyone can come to the table with great ideas and conviction and passion for them. And at the same time, be really low ego and curious and realize that an even better idea could come from someone else, no matter the level, no matter the team. And really that meritocracy for great ideas is core for us at TULA. The other value we talk a lot about is right brain, left brain. And so it's this idea that, we're very commercial and data driven and analytical team, but at the same time, we're building a brand in a deeply personal and emotional space. And we have to trust our gut, pun intended, and really lean in on the creativity. And so that deep respect and sort of dual way of thinking is really important to me as a leader and to our team overall.
That's great. That's really clear the way that you described that. I think you kind of answered my next question, but I would love to get a little bit more around it, which is how you work together. I just love hearing about how women can sort of raise each other up, and especially when they're both sort of leading a company. Do you guys have sort of like a yin and yang relationship, or do you have certain things that you're different, that each of you have different in terms of your qualities that make it work?
Yeah, I mean, I think Savannah alluded to it, and it's really amongst all of us at the team, but particularly so with Savannah and I think it's just that mutual respect for each other and understanding of each other's expertise, as she said. And so, me certainly being aware that I'm not running the day-to-day company, and I also am not a tech person or a, D2C expert by any means, really trusting Savannah and her judgment and guidance on many decisions in that area, but still feeling like we can and often do have an open dialogue about any aspect of the business. And then I think I let her speak to it, but I also have experienced on her end, talking to me, and we always have an open door policy with each other about if we have questions or want to pressure test something, make sure we're both comfortable with it. It's a very fluid and open dialogue, and it's 24/7. I'm particularly probably bad at, if I think about something at 6 a.m., I'll send an email, and I haven't gotten yelled at about it yet. But the point is, TULA is sort of a living, breathing organism, and we're sort of always on and always thinking about it. And we ultimately both want what's best for TULA. And I think we think that we're both working our best towards that goal.
Yeah, I think incredibly well said. And, I again feel so fortunate to have found TULA and joined for this second stage of the journey. I think it's a big deal to allow someone else to come in and help build your baby, right? And so I think making sure that we're really always coming from a place of trust and mutual respect, and to Roshini's point, an open door policy, right? And that there's a free flow of ideas and feedback, and that either one of us knows we can always pick up the phone and chat and talk through something, whether it's an exciting new idea we're starting to noodle on, or something we think we should evolve and change up and reframe. So, I think, again, feel incredibly fortunate that there's such a fantastic founder leadership team dynamic at TULA. And I think it's quite unique and special.
This kind of leads into my next question, and I think I'll just direct this to you, Savannah. So how are you motivating your teams right now, keeping everyone sort of sane? I'm sure, everyone's feeling the stress of, working from home and just what's going on in their lives, given the pandemic, et cetera, that we talked about earlier. So can you talk a little bit about that?
Definitely. I think it's the little things, right? And really thinking through, how can we stay connected and invest to maintain the fabric of our team culture, even when we're not seeing each other face to face. And so, one simple tactic, for example, is to always default to video calls so that you can really tap into nonverbal cues and get a sense for how someone is doing in their own work from home environment. We also have gotten into a good rhythm of, connecting more regularly in what we call virtual stand-ups, even if it's just a 15-minute check-in for a team, so that you can really recreate those moments that you might have had in the office when you're checking in on folks by the water cooler or in the bathroom and in between meetings. How can we create space for more of those types of moments and connections? And it's also the little things in terms of making sure that we're supporting the team, investing in additional monitors or equipment that they need to work from home really productively, sending little care packages or snacks. We're planning actually in December a virtual offsite, including a really exciting team building activity. So, of course, it's not the same as being face to face, but we've really tried to stay connected and invest in the fabric of the team culture. And what's remarkable is that we've actually grown our team over 50% since March. And so we have so many new team members that we have yet to meet in person. But when I check in with them one-on-one and get a sense for how remote virtual onboarding is going, everyone has said it's better than they expected. And so I think we have been able to really integrate new team members in and give them a sense of the TULA culture, even over Zoom.
Wow, that's impressive. That's a large number of people hiring over Zoom. Maybe the next podcast will have to be about how you did that. That's so interesting.
Yeah.
So in conclusion here, we only have time for one more question. But what are you both looking the most forward to, like personally and professionally in 2021?
This is Roshini. Well, personally, I think like everyone in the world, I'm looking for the cure to COVID or the vaccine to COVID, which I think hope is in sight. So that's wonderful. And I think in many aspects of all of our lives, things will hopefully normalize. Let's hope by middle or the end of 2021. So that's definitely first on my list. But in terms of professionally and TULA, I mean, as Savannah said, we've actually had a year of tremendous growth this year, and I am so looking forward to seeing how that evolves in 2021 and continuing to grow. But also, I think the world has changed, partly due to COVID, and the sense of more mindfulness and awareness in the beauty industry is something we are very closely aligned with, and really working towards. And I recently joined Ulta, is one of our major retail partners, their Conscious Beauty Advisory Board, which is a whole initiative dealing with conscious beauty. And there are several pillars underneath conscious beauty, one of which is clean. And, as we have said many times on this podcast, clean and effective is one of our core values in terms of our ingredients. So really seeing how the beauty world evolves and changes over the next year, I think it's going to be very interesting. I think it's going to, pose challenges for everybody, but ultimately with fantastic results, which really are going to benefit the consumer more than anyone else.
Yeah, echo Roshini's sentiment that we're really excited in terms of where our business is building from an omni-channel perspective. We spoke a little bit about the momentum and success of TULA.com this year. We're also in 1,200 points of brick and mortar distribution. And as Roshini said, our top partner is Ulta. And we're thrilled to be at brick and mortar and continue to grow that channel as one that we see incredibly important for the long term. And here's to hoping that 2021 is a little bit more of the new normal versus some of the extended disruptions we had this year. And, even despite that, so incredibly proud of our team for reacting quickly, pivoting, and continuing to build a great business across all channels this year. And so excited to see that resilience and momentum continue to build for next year.
Wonderful. Well said. Well, thank you so much, Savannah, Roshini. This has been so interesting. So I feel like I learned a lot, and I know our listeners did as well. Thank you both for joining me, and thanks everyone for listening to this episode of Women in Retail Talks. For more information on this podcast, please check out our podcast channel page at womeninretail.com/podcast for show notes. Women in Retail Talks is available on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Stitcher, and Spotify. Make sure to subscribe on our podcast channel page as well. And if you've enjoyed this episode, please take a moment to rate and review the podcast. Until next time, this has been Women in Retail Talks.